When my daughter inherited $33 million from her father, I thought she would finally have the life she always deserved. But 3 days later, her lawyer showed up at my door shaking with fear. She's not safe. Someone was following her, manipulating her, isolating her from everyone who loved her. And the worst part, he refused to say who was behind it. The money that was supposed to secure her future turned into a deadly trap. Now I'm racing against time to save the only family I have left. But the closer I get to the truth, the more I realize the real danger might be closer than I ever imagined. Rain was beating hard against my small house windows when the doorbell rang. It was almost 10 at night. Nobody visited me at that hour. When I opened the door, I barely recognized Richard Chen, the lawyer who had handled my ex-husband's will. His clothes were soaked, his hair disheveled, but what truly frightened me were his eyes, terrified, bulging, like those of a cornered animal. "Mrs. Morrison, I need to speak with you." He looked over his shoulder at the dark street. "May I come in, please?" I let him pass. Richard had never come to my house before. In fact, after David and I divorced 8 years ago, I barely had contact with anything related to his life. Until 3 days ago, when he died in a car accident and left everything, absolutely everything, to our daughter Emma. $33 million. "What's happening?" I asked, handing him a towel. "Is it about the inheritance? Is there a problem with the documents?" "It's not about the documents." Richard dried his face with trembling hands. "It's about Emma. She's not safe." My heart raced. "What do you mean she's not safe? Where is she? What happened?" "She's being followed, manipulated." He stepped closer, lowering his voice as if someone could hear us. "In the last 2 days, she's completely changed. Cut off contact with friends, dismissed the personal assistant she'd had for years, changed all her account passwords. And there's always someone with her now, someone I've never seen before." "Who?" Richard hesitated. His jaw trembled. "I can't say, but I promised David I'd take care of her if something happened to him. And now," his voice failed, "now I'm violating attorney-client privilege just by being here. But I had to warn you. Someone close to her, someone she trusts, is brainwashing her. And if we don't act fast..." "If we don't act what?" My voice came out louder than I intended. "Just say it." He swallowed hard. "This morning, Emma came to my office. She wanted to transfer all the money to an offshore account and change the beneficiaries of her will. When I asked why, she said it was to protect herself from people who only wanted her money. And she looked at me in a way as if I were the enemy. My blood ran cold. That doesn't make sense. Emma would never..." "Exactly. She wouldn't. Not unless someone convinced her that everyone around her is a threat." Richard grabbed my arm. "Mrs. Morrison, isolation is the first sign. Whoever is doing this is setting the stage for something much worse." I immediately grabbed my phone and called Emma. It rang. Nothing. Voicemail. I tried again and again. She's not answering. Panic rose in my throat. She always answers for me. "I know." Richard walked to the window and peeked through the curtain. "That's why I'm here. You're the only person she might still listen to. But you need to act carefully. If this person realizes we're trying to interfere..." "What aren't you telling me?" I positioned myself in front of him. "Who is it? Is it someone from David's family? Is it someone from her work?" Richard opened his mouth to answer, but suddenly his phone vibrated. He looked at the screen and turned even paler. "I need to go. Now." "Wait, you can't just..." "Tomorrow afternoon, Emma is going to the bank to make the transfers." He was already heading toward the door. "If you want to save her, that's your only chance. But listen carefully. Don't trust anyone who says they're helping her, not even who seems most obvious." And then he ran out into the rain, getting into a car and speeding down the street before I could process his last words. I stood there, shaking, with my phone still in hand. Emma was 26 years old. She was smart, independent, determined. She would never let anyone manipulate her, right? But then I remembered the last time we talked, 2 days ago. She seemed distant, distracted, and when I mentioned wanting to see her to talk about the inheritance, she was evasive. "Mom, I need time to process all of this. So many people have appeared out of nowhere now that I have money. I need to figure out who I can trust." At the time, I thought it was natural. But now, I called again, and again, and again. Until finally, on the 10th attempt, she answered. Mom. Her voice was cold, controlled. I'm busy right now. Emma, honey, I need to see you. It's important. It's not a good time. Please, just coffee tomorrow morning, before you do anything. There was a long pause. I could hear muffled voices in the background. Someone was with her. Who told you I'm doing something tomorrow? Her tone changed, became defensive. My stomach tightened. Nobody. I just miss you. It's been 3 days since we've seen each other. Another pause. More voices in the background. Okay, she sighed. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, at the coffee shop near my house. But I need to hang up now. Emma, The call dropped. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking. Something was terribly wrong. I knew my daughter, and that wasn't her. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every word from Richard echoed in my head. Don't trust anyone who says they're helping her. But who would it be? Who would have access to Emma? Who would have a reason to? And then I realized. 3 days. The inheritance was released exactly 3 days ago. I grabbed my laptop and started searching. I looked for news about David's death, about his company, about anything that could give me a clue. That's when I saw it. A photo of Emma leaving a restaurant the night David died. She wasn't alone. Next to her, with a protective arm around her shoulders, was someone I recognized immediately. Someone I would never have imagined. And suddenly, all the pieces began to fit together in an absolutely terrifying way. Chapter 2. The Betrayal. I arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes before 9. I needed to see Emma come in, observe if anyone was with her, understand what was happening. The morning was clear, but I felt as if a shadow weighed over everything. I sat at a table in the back, from where I could see the entrance and the street. 9 o'clock came and went. 9:15, 9:30. I called her, straight to voicemail. That's when I received the text. Sorry, Mom, I can't make it. Something important came up. We'll talk another day. My heart sank. She had never stood me up before. Never. I was about to get up when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Morrison. It was Richard, and his voice was even more tense than the night before. Are you with Emma? No, she canceled. Why? Because she's already at the bank. He was breathing with difficulty. I got information from a colleague. Emma arrived 20 minutes ago with someone else and asked to make urgent international transfers. If she signs those papers? Which bank? I was already getting up. Chase Bank, 5th Avenue branch. But listen, don't go there head on. First, you need to understand who you're dealing with. I know who it is. My voice came out hard. I saw the photo. It's Tyler Hart, isn't it? The silence on the other end confirmed it. Tyler Hart, David's best friend, Emma's godfather, the man who had been in our family for more than 15 years, and who I had always considered like a brother. Mrs. Morrison. Richard hesitated. There are things you don't know about Tyler. Things David discovered weeks before he died. What do you mean? David's company was being audited. There were financial inconsistencies, money disappearing. David was investigating and discovered that Tyler had access to his accounts. They were partners in some investments, but Tyler used that to... His voice failed. David came to me 2 weeks before the accident. He said he was going to confront Tyler and remove him from all business dealings. But then the accident happened. My blood ran cold. Are you saying the accident wasn't... I'm not saying anything, Richard interrupted quickly. But I am saying that Tyler lost a lot with David's death. And now suddenly, he's Emma's closest confidant exactly when she inherits everything. I hung up and ran to the car. The bank was 20 minutes away, but I drove as if my life depended on it. Because maybe Emma's life did. When I arrived, I saw Emma's car parked in front. A black Mercedes, a gift from her father on her last birthday. I ran into the bank, my eyes scanning the lobby until I saw her. Emma was sitting in a glass room with a manager, signing documents. And right behind her, with that warm, familiar smile, was Tyler. He looked the same as always. Neatly cut gray hair, impeccable suit, confident posture. The kind of man who inspired security, trust. But now, looking at him, I only saw a predator. I knocked on the glass door. Emma looked up, surprised, and Tyler immediately positioned himself between us. Margaret. He opened the door with that fake smile. What a surprise. Get out of my way, Tyler. Mom? Emma stood up, confused. What are you doing here? I came to stop you from making a terrible mistake. I looked directly at Tyler. She's not signing anything. Tyler laughed, but there was no humor in that sound. Margaret, I understand you're worried, but Emma is an adult. She's making smart choices to protect her assets. Protect? My voice trembled with anger. Or steal. His smile disappeared. Excuse me? Emma took a step forward. Mom, you don't understand. Tyler is helping me transfer the money to an international trust. It's the safest way to— It's the easiest way for him to steal from you, I shouted, and the entire bank turned to look at us. Emma, your father's lawyer came to my house last night. Tyler is manipulating you. Richard talked to you? Tyler took a threatening step. That son of a— Don't finish that sentence. My voice came out firm. Emma, your father was investigating Tyler before he died. Money was disappearing. And now, 3 days after you inherit everything, he's conveniently here, isolating you from everyone, making you transfer millions to accounts he controls? Emma looked between me and Tyler, confusion and fear fighting on her face. Tyler? Her voice came out small. Is this true? Honey, of course not. Tyler held her arm gently, but I saw the pressure of his fingers. Your mother is confused. Richard was stealing from your father and is trying to deflect blame onto me. Why do you think he sought her out secretly at night? He's desperate. You're lying. I stepped closer. Emma, please, just wait. Let's investigate this together. Don't sign anything today. Margaret, you're causing a scene. Tyler smiled at the manager. Sorry, it's a complicated family situation. But something had changed in Emma's face. She looked at Tyler's hand on her arm, at the documents on the table, at me. Tyler. She pulled away from him. Why did you change all my passwords? His face darkened for a fraction of a second before the smile returned. For your security, honey. You asked for it yourself. No. Emma shook her head slowly. You suggested it. You suggested everything. The transfers, staying away from my friends, not answering my mother. Emma, and you were there. Her voice began to tremble. The night my father died, you had dinner together. You were the last person to see him alive. The silence was deafening. Tyler looked at me, then at Emma, and something changed in his expression. The mask fell. You don't understand. His voice came out low, dangerous. Your father was about to destroy me because of some investments that didn't work out. 15 years of friendship, and he was going to throw me to the wolves. The money was as much mine as his. Emma took a step back, horrified. You killed my father? It was an accident. Tyler laughed. A harsh, desperate sound. The car, the brakes. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. But it did. And now the money is yours. And you are going to throw it away because you don't understand how the world works. I was just taking what was always mine. He lunged for Emma, but I positioned myself in front of her. Security! I shouted. Call the police! Everything happened very fast. Tyler tried to grab Emma. I clung to him. The manager screamed. People ran. And then, in a desperate move, Tyler pushed everyone away and ran for the exit. But he didn't get far. At the bank door, Richard was waiting with 2 police officers. Tyler was restrained, handcuffed, while he screamed about injustices and betrayals. I held Emma as she collapsed, crying, her whole body shaking against mine. He killed Dad, she sobbed. He killed Dad and was going to steal everything. I know, honey. I know. But it's over now. Chapter 3. The New Beginning, 3 months later. The investigation confirmed everything. Tyler had manipulated David's car, causing the brake failure. There were documents, emails, evidence that he had been embezzling money for years. And when David found out, Tyler eliminated his best friend to save his own skin. Now he was awaiting trial, and the charges included homicide, fraud, and attempted extortion. Emma and I were sitting in the garden of her house, the house David had bought for her 2 years ago. The afternoon was warm, and for the first time in months, I saw something like peace on my daughter's face. I feel so stupid, she said, stirring her iced tea. How could I not see who he really was? Because he was good at hiding. I held her hand. And because you lost your father and were vulnerable. Tyler knew exactly how to manipulate you. If you hadn't come to the bank that day, her voice failed. But I did. And Richard did. And now you're safe. Emma looked at the trees, thoughtful. You know what's craziest? The money. Everyone says 33 million should make me happy, but it only brought me pain. I lost my father, almost lost my freedom, discovered that one of the people I trusted most was a murderer. Money isn't the problem, I said gently. People are. And now you know that. She sighed. I've decided to do something different with the money, Mom. I want to create a foundation in Dad's name to help victims of financial fraud, especially women and vulnerable people. I want something good to come out of all this. My heart swelled with pride. Your father would be very proud. And there's more. Emma turned to me, her eyes shining with tears. I want you to be co-director of the foundation with me. You saved me, Mom. And I realized I spent years distancing myself from you after the divorce, as if you had done something wrong by not being able to handle Dad's problems anymore. But you were just protecting yourself. And when I needed it most, you were there. I hugged my daughter, crying now, all the wounds of recent years finally beginning to heal. I'll always be here. Always. We stayed there, embraced, under the afternoon sun. The money was still there. The pain of loss was still there. But there was also something new. Trust. Connection. A future that wasn't defined by inheritance or betrayal, but by conscious choices to do good. 1 week later, Richard came to dinner at my house. He had become an unexpected friend through all of this, and Emma insisted he be the foundation's lawyer. So, he raised his wine glass. To the David Morrison Foundation. May it help many people. To honesty, Emma added. To family, I concluded. We toasted, and for the first time in a long time, I felt we were on the right path. My phone vibrated. It was a news notification. Tyler Hart pleads guilty to manslaughter and fraud. Estimated sentence, 25 years in prison. I showed Emma. She read it, closed her eyes for a moment, and then nodded. Justice, she said simply. It wasn't perfect. David was still dead. Nothing would bring him back, but at least the man who killed him would pay. And Emma? She was finally free. Free from manipulation. Free from fear. Free to use her father's inheritance not as a curse, but as a force for good. I looked at my daughter. Strong, brave, determined to transform tragedy into purpose, and knew that, despite everything, we had won. Because in the end, what mattered wasn't the 33 million. It was love. It was truth. It was family. And that, no one could steal from us.